Hold up, before we get started, I've already made a huge mistake. This is so typical of me. I'm not the best. This is so frustrating. Hey guys, and welcome to a new episode of my first time making things homemade. Last time's episode I made homemade oat milk, and if you guys haven't seen that, I'll link that right above here. So a little backstory on today's episode. My boyfriend and I were grocery shopping, and if you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys will know that I love wraps for lunch. So we were grocery shopping for lunch ingredients, and I usually always check the ingredients list on things, for example, like for the wraps that we need for making wraps. Funnily enough, that was the first time that I had actually looked at the ingredients list on those wraps, and it turns out it was this huge list with things where I didn't really know what it was, and you guys know that is a red flag for additives and preservatives, and that's not something that I want or that you guys should want. So right there in the bread aisle, I pulled out my phone and thought to myself, well, making it homemade shouldn't be that difficult. So I searched up a recipe, and it turns out it looked super easy. You only need 5 ingredients. So I thought, why not try it today and bring you guys along. It's perfect for this series. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to make homemade wraps, and I'm going to bring you guys with me. So let's get started. So hold up, before we get started, I've already made a huge mistake. This is so typical of me. Even though this recipe only calls for 5 ingredients, I managed not to have one in my pantry. So I'm gonna have to sort that out. This is so frustrating and so typical of me, so I'm going to run to the store. Okay guys, I'm back from the store. I'm a little out of breath because that hill always gets me on my bike. Then I have to ride up on. So what I was missing was actually baking powder. I got that now, and now we can finally continue this experiment. First thing I'm gonna do actually is put on an apron because I'm so clumsy, as you guys will probably have seen in my last oat milk video, and I don't want to be getting all my clothes dirty, so I'm going to wear my trusty apron. Okay, now we're ready. Okay, so first things first, I have my whole wheat flour in this bowl ready to go. Then in there, we're supposed to add some salt. This salt I have in here is always so rough. It's kind of like rock salt, I guess. I don't know if that's the correct term. So I'm going to grind these finer salt. Then in here we need to add some baking powder that I just got at the store. So let's open this up. I always like to give this a shake. And we only need 1 teaspoon. We're going to give this all a quick stir, just to incorporate everything. Then we're going to add our wet ingredients in here. I have some warm water that's going to go in here. I'm going to go little by little because I'm not sure if this is going to be too much warm water. Okay, then we're going to add some vegetable oil. Okay, mix that up. This is supposed to now form a dough. But because I don't have one of those fancy standing mixer thingies, you know, like the KitchenAid, I'm going to mix this all by hand. Do this the good old-fashioned way. Okay, I think I'm going to go in with my hand now. Hold up, let me roll up my sleeves. Wow, this feels nice. You can already see I have like somewhat of a dough ball going on, so I'm going to tip this out on a floured surface and work from there. Okay, so I have my lightly floured surface right here. I'm going to tip my dough ball out and then continue to work this. Okay, so now we have a somewhat smooth dough ball here. We're going to divide this up into the pieces. I think it's supposed to make about 16 wraps, so I'm going to divide this up into 16 pieces. Okay, now we have 8, and let's just have everything once more. I have a feeling these are going to be pretty small wraps, but we still need to roll them out, so we'll see how big they are once they're rolled out. Okay, now that I have my 16 pieces, I'm going to try to somewhat form a ball type thing and then press it as flat as I can and put that to the side. Oh, I forgot to form a ball. Hold on. The dough feels quite hard and not rubbery, but, well, I guess kind of rubbery or tangy. I don't know if that's a good thing for wraps. It doesn't seem like a bad thing. I mean, wraps are supposed to have kind of a tang. Is that the right word? Or, I mean, it isn't supposed to be like a cake or anything like that. I feel like these are so uneven. Some are going to be so much bigger than others. Okay, so now that they've all been flattened with the palm of my hand, I'm going to let these rest and cover it with a tablecloth, not tablecloth, with a kitchen towel, just so that these don't dry out with the air. Okay, so now that I formed my tortilla flat discs, they're resting right here. I'm going to let them rest for about 15 minutes before I start rolling them out and then not frying them in their pan, or I guess frying them, or not baking, frying them in the pan. So I'll check back with you guys in about 15 minutes. So the 15 minutes are over, so let's check on our little wrap discs, I guess. Okay, I don't feel like they look at all different. Let me show you guys. So here we have our wrap discs, I'm calling them. So we're going to roll these out and then work from there. Okay, so all I have is this tiny rolling pin, so I'm going to make do of this. So apparently, let me take off this. You're supposed to roll this as thin as possible, like paper thin. So let's see if I am able to achieve that. I'm not the best roller, but practice makes perfect, I guess. I make sure to keep turning the dough, otherwise we'll have like a oval shaped tortilla wrap. I guess if that is what you're going for, then go ahead, but I want to make mine as round and even as possible. Okay, this is definitely not like round or store-bought perfect, but I mean, hey, this is my first one, so practice makes perfect, I guess. We'll see how the other ones go. Okay, so I'm not sure if this is like thin enough or if I should go a little thinner. I have no idea. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop here. I mean, these are like way smaller than the ones bought at the supermarket, so maybe I should have, either this is one of like the small ones, or I should have not divided into 16, but rather maybe 8 pieces, or I don't know. Okay, so let's get on with the next one. Okay, this too isn't so round, but this one I think I managed to get a little thinner. So yeah, I'll just, as I said, practice makes perfect. And I'm going to keep going from here. 14 more to go. Okay guys, this is a really awkward position, but I wanted to show you guys that practice does make perfect. I've said this like so many times in this video. It's a little cliche, but it really is true. So this is the last one that I made. I'm about halfway through and this is pretty good. I mean, okay, the edges are rough, but that's how you know it's homemade. But this is nice and thin and it's nice, it's pretty round. And I think I've developed a good technique to rolling these out. So I'm gonna show you guys. But what I do is before, I don't know if you can see, I went like this, like one way and then turn, and went one way and then turn. But what I do now is I go like back and forth and apply a lot of pressure. My arms are super sore, I'm kind of out of breath, but I guess that's my workout for today. So I go back and forth and back and forth, and I don't know what it is, I feel like it makes it even more even, and I managed to get it a little thinner than the method I was using before. I don't know if this is the right method or a good method, but I mean, remember, this is my first time making this. This is totally experimental. I'm just taking you guys along with me and sharing my thoughts with you guys. So this has been my latest method and I'm pretty satisfied with it. If you guys have a better method, feel free to leave it down below in the comments. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is not the roundest of wraps, but it's nice and thin and so like evenly thin, but it is a bit jagged at the edges. But I'm liking this technique. I'll update you guys if I use a different technique along the way. I have 2, 4, 6, 8 more to go. Okay, so I've rolled out like 9 of them. I don't know if you can see, like right here. I haven't rolled out all of them just because I'm so sore and kind of out of breath and kind of sweaty. So this is takes a lot of sweat and tears and blood to make. So I definitely will appreciate store-bought wraps more. There's just so much work that goes into it. I mean, obviously the factory and machines make them, but I don't know, I'll sure appreciate it more now. That's what I like about making things homemade. So I'm kind of leaving the not rolled out ones for now, and I'm going to go here to the stovetop and fry them. I'm just gonna say fry right now. I'm going to fry the tortilla rolls so that they are ready to be consumed. So I've set up my pan right here on medium heat. I'm gonna get my first wrap. So this is like the smallest wrap I rolled. To carefully lay this in here. And you're supposed to wait, I think, I don't know, like a minute or so before you flip it, and it's supposed to have like brown bubbles, not bubbles, but brown spots. So I'm curious as to how this will look when it's done. Okay, I'm just gonna flip it now because for some reason it's not really getting any brown spots. But it, ow! But it does feel like it's done, or it's nice and dry on that side. I have a feeling that these wraps are gonna be crispy. That is not what I was going for. I don't know if the dough is a little dry, but it definitely smells like wraps. It smells nice and salty, and a little bit of olive oil. It smells a little bit like olive oil, but it's not looking like wraps. We'll see. I feel like this wrap is done. It's a little hard, but on the other hand, it doesn't have those brown spots. This is so weird. Why? Okay, I flipped it around again, but I just feel like it's getting harder and harder, and it's not looking like a wrap. I mean, look at this. It's so hard. Okay, let's just put this aside and try with the next one. Okay, so here we have our next wrap. Let's try this again. Hopefully it doesn't, I don't know, this is so weird. This is like hard. I mean, if I wrap this is gonna crack, so I don't get it. I did something wrong, definitely. I definitely did something wrong. This is so weird. Okay, this one is forming like little bubbles, so that's interesting. Let me check the other side. But this also doesn't have like brown spots. This is so weird. Okay, so I'm a little sad and disappointed that this is not turning out as I hoped it would. I'm definitely gonna continue making these wraps. Maybe they'll turn out better as I go. I mean, when making pancakes, the first one or two are always like the ugliest and the weirdest, and then once you get the hang of it, they start turning out better. So I'm hoping this is the case. I'll update you guys, but right now it's not looking too promising. Okay, so what I'm thinking is that you're supposed to wrap the wraps like with the filling right after they've come out of the pan, so otherwise they'll turn hard, because the first one that I made is so hard. I mean, look at this. It's like a waffle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop making them in the pan, and I'm going to prepare the filling for my wraps, and then like put them in the pan, and right when they're done, immediately roll them up, because I don't know, otherwise they'll turn crispy, or I'm doing something wrong. But this is definitely not as going as I hoped or imagined. So lunch will be a little weird today. So what I'm gonna do is cut up this zucchini into slices and then roast them in the oven. Okay, so I've added some olive oil, salt, and pepper to these to the zucchini, and I'm gonna put that in the oven right now. So this is my wrapping station. I've got some salt and pepper, hummus, some salad, and tomatoes, and this is where I'm gonna wrap them, and the zucchinis are in the oven. Okay, so now that I've prepared my wrapping station and all my ingredients, the zucchini is still in the oven. I'm going to start slowly making the wraps again, so I can immediately wrap them afterwards, as long as they're still warm, because once they kind of cool down, they harden for some reason. I still need to figure that out, what the problem with that is. Okay, so I've already made 2 wraps, and it wasn't that bad, so I'm gonna show you guys how I made it. So I definitely had to make them right when I took them out of the pan, when they're still warm and formable, so I'm gonna show you guys how I did that. Okay, so this one is a tiny bit charred, but I'm gonna spread some hummus on top quickly, then add the tomatoes, add some lettuce, and then add some salt and pepper. And then and add some roasted, what is it called? Zucchini, and then just wrap it up like this, and then stick a pin through it, and that's it. It's a little crunchy, but I'm excited to taste it. Okay, so my camera died, so I'm switching over to my phone. So I have this huge pile of wraps that I made right here, and I'm actually gonna bite into one and try one right now just to see how it is. I know it's crunchy, we've already figured that out, but how it tastes. So the wrap is actually super delicious, even though it's a little bit crunchy, It's still really good. It kind of tastes like pizza. That's maybe because of my topping. I added this tomato basil spread because my hummus ran out, but that was really delicious. I actually know where I went wrong with my wrap right now. I figured that out. It was because, well, first of all, my dough had too little water, so my dough was supposed to be a little more elastic, I guess. Hold on, let me turn my stove down. So my dough was supposed to be a little more elastic than it is. That is because I think I put too little water. And in the beginning, my stove wasn't hot enough, so there were no like bubbles forming, as you can see. So that was another mistake. So I definitely learned from this fun and kind of difficult experience today. So much went wrong, but I learned so much. I now know what to look out for if I make them next time. It was definitely a lot of work. I'm not sure if I would do this every time we have wraps. If I do so, I would make more like the ones behind and freeze them. You can totally freeze them and then reheat them once you need them. So that is handy. So if you guys want to try the recipe that I went off of, I'll link that down below. I think I needed more water because I used whole grain wheat. I think if you use normal flour, whole grain flour, I think if you use normal flour, you won't need more water. Well, I don't think so. I looked up other recipes and they all had it was all the exact same recipe. So I guess that is the right one, only if you use whole grain flour, I think you need to amp up the water. But other than that, it was a super fun experience. I hope I inspired you guys to maybe do some things homemade, maybe this wrap, maybe something else. You really get a look behind the curtains, kind of how these things are made. Obviously nowadays they're made in a factory with a machine, but still I think it was a lot of fun. I definitely learned a lot, and I hope you guys were kind of entertained with all the things that went wrong today, and had fun watching this video. Other than that, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys! If you guys want to see more behind the scenes and vlogs, you can support me on Patreon. The link is down below.